Hey guys, welcome to Strange Attractors. I'm your host, Nicole. Usually we save our deep dives for my Substack essays, but today I had to jump on camera for a quick bonus mini episode. We need to talk.
Welcome to Strange Attractors Podcast.
We need to bring our analytical lens to a highly unregulated space. I'm talking about the world of online Reiki. I know, right? An online Reiki practitioner is talking about online Reiki. What's up here? But recently a friend sent me a reel and we had a disagreement about it. Today I would like to talk about ASMR Reiki specifically.
Relax. Let me clear your energy. Feel it.
Let's set the scene. I got this text from a good friend sharing a popular reel she saw. She said, I watched 6 videos from this creator. If you spend any time on the wellness side of TikTok or Insta, you've probably seen videos like this. The video I got was a moody face frame. The aesthetic was perfectly curated. There were flowers in the background. The video itself featured a stylized performance. It was this ASMR thing where the practitioner was staring deeply into our eyes and then cutting with scissors and sort of waving her hands. She's telling you she's plucking away invisible strings. Snip, pluck, and pull. She's pulling away your negative energy through your screen. My friends, that's not Reiki. Hell no. Red flags everywhere. Grifter Nation.
I was in Grifter Town, and when you see what they're doing, red flags were everywhere.
But I was trying to be cool, right? I watched her mime like plucking away psychological trauma through a smartphone screen. And then, of course, all I could find was her selling something. But I'm growing. I'm reparenting. I'm a better person now. And here at Strange Attractors, we do not just write off internet weirdness. I took the dive. I wanted to understand the subconscious underlying behaviors behind this trend. You see, when you survive manipulative family dynamics, you invest heavily in rigorous, long-term trauma recovery. You don't just take this stuff lightly. Your nervous system becomes highly calibrated to a certain type of bullshit. And mine was tingling, absolutely tingling. So let me tell you what I found. Let's start with who this creator is talking to. She specifically makes videos for women who have survived narcissistic mothers. Oh, I am so mad. This is directly speaking to people who carry deep foundational attachment wounds. This very not nice person actively seeks people who want relief from complex family trauma. That's a tough one for most therapists. But this girlie says she's got you all figured out because all you need to do is this oil. And if the oil don't work, maybe you're not right with God or not trying hard enough. I'm not even kidding. That's exactly what I found on her website. I also found her promising to miraculously remove curses and deeply rooted psychological trauma through a screen. She apparently will use hand gestures and scissors. I'm so angry. It's not okay. This is a highly calculated move from a con man. Sorry, guys. I can't be nice about this one. Predators in the wellness space frequently select their audiences by assessing their emotional vulnerabilities. They look for groups that are already hurting. They're already destabilized, exhausted, desperate for reprieve. Then they move in. These people are incredibly susceptible to manipulation, and they can sometimes never get away from dynamics like this. If you have done the actual hard work day in and day out, you know this. True reparenting is messy, slow. It's deeply disciplined. It's incredibly boring. It's an internal process. It requires grounding deeply in reality. It requires safety. It cannot be magically plucked away. I really don't know why my friend thought that I would be down with this creator, because all I saw in those videos was this spiritual, like, salad of sorts. She's mashing together completely different modalities purely because they fit into her cozy, moody aesthetic. Like, it's really insulting to somebody who's monotropic like me. The whispering, the microphone brushing, not only does that actually give me really bad sensory anxiety, I'm not a fan of ASMR, but all it is ASMR. It's designed to give you a sensory neurological tingle of sorts. The physical snipping and the pulling motions, I remember those from Wicca. That's cord cutting. That's a completely different Western esoteric tradition. The word Reiki that she just throws around, it seems, in this context, it's just being used as an SEO, search engine optimization, a buzzword, so you click on her video. She's stripping a respected traditional lineage, a modality that I've been studying since I was pregnant with my daughter, who's now 17, into parts just to feed an algorithm. It honestly reminds me of those old, phone psychic lines where my mother actually worked for a short time. It's just a scam. They're promising you to send a magic charm to lift a hex or an oil to, change your thought patterns, and it's not going to work. The language she uses is incredibly wildly abusive. She blends popular therapy speak with aggressive boundary pushing language, right? So she'll be guiding her audience through what she says is deep psychological healing. And then she uses loaded, judgmental, mocking terms like baby daddy. Girl, you're not talking among your friends. When a practitioner asks someone to open up their psyche, introduce critical, mocking, and dramatic language right afterwards, that's a manipulation tactic, my friends. It introduces interpersonal drama into a space that should be reserved for non-judgment and quiet integration. It's designed to keep the audience a little off balance. It creates a deliberate power dynamic where the creator is the ultimate spiritual superior authority who God blessed. And the viewer, well, they got to learn something from this blessed person. They mask themselves as healers to extract praise and endless devotion from an audience, orchestrating a parasocial relationship where you become entirely dependent on them for a sense of safety without realizing it. This creator is perfectly recreating the exact dynamics of an abusive household. We will go over how she's mirroring the exact narcissistic wounds she claims to be saving her clients from. Harm does not need to be intentional to be deeply damaging. So in this next section, we'll go over how harmful this is. To understand why my gears are so thoroughly ground, we must understand what traditional Reiki actually is. Channeling versus extracting. The fundamental mechanism of Reiki is channeling. A practitioner acts as a clear conduit. You invoke the energy. The energy goes exactly where the recipient's body needs it. The practitioner does not do any fixing. We're just a radio. We're tuning in a frequency and we're letting you listen to it because you haven't heard that song in a while. But the ASMR plucking performance, that centers the practitioner as this magical individual with unique special abilities to see and forcibly remove invisible threads or demons or curses. It sounds very churchy. The visual triggers are sending me, right? ASMR relies on highly choreographed visual and auditory triggers to create that physical tingle. Traditional Usui Reiki is not visual. It's quiet, it's grounded, it's internal. It involves hovering over someone's body or even just thinking about someone's problem or tuning into their energy in a meditative session. To be honest, Reiki is really not entertaining to watch on screen. Have you ever seen me make a Reiki video? It's super boring. That's why Reiki won't go viral on TikTok. It's the aggressive, dramatic ASMR plucking that does. That wasn't designed for healing. It was designed for views. I wanted to give this healer the benefit of the doubt. So I went directly to her website and I sent a polite private message inquiring about her practice. I simply asked what type of Reiki she practices and what her lineage is. Absolute total silence. In the unregulated wellness space, that speaks volumes. A legitimate practitioner is eager to answer questions about their background. It's a point of professional pride for me. Traditional Reiki is deeply rooted in history. Legitimate regulatory bodies require practitioners to provide a full, unbroken lineage tracing back to the founder, Mikao Usui. Authentic healers do not hide behind vague buzzwords, and they certainly don't ignore basic professional inquiries. But while I was waiting for a response I knew would never come, I started looking closer into this woman's business model. Talk about red flags. For starters, she has a fully functioning, beautiful digital storefront. She's more than happy to charge you over $100 for her Reiki services, her courses, and her products. But if you look for a bio, nada. There's no publicly facing About Me page. There's absolutely nothing that tells you anything about who she is as a person or a professional, where she trains, what her actual credentials are, or where you can find verifiable information about her. She operates as a completely anonymous platform and phantom storefront. Kind of like a ghost kitchen on Uber Eats, right? But for oils that might give you a rash or you might be allergic to. This is so not okay. On top of that, she regularly features her kids in social media content. I mean, the photo I saw was her beautiful little girl on her lap while she was stroking her back and she was wearing a swimsuit. That is beyond not okay. And in the influencer space, it's a red flag. It's a common marketing tactic. It's used to manufacture this wholesome, trustworthy, maternal image so you can sell your products. No bueno. Finally, I'm almost done. There's no mention of professional liability insurance or a formal business certification. This stuff is not hard to get. It's not expensive. You can get it for $50 right now online. Legitimate healing practitioners don't want to get sued. They know it's a drop in the bucket to pay $50 and make sure that if anything happens, you're covered and bonded. We operate real businesses with real legal safeguards. It's not prohibitively expensive or difficult. The bar is literally in hell, and yet they seem to manage to trip over. Look, right now especially, the internet is absolutely flooded with unhealed people willing to sell you wellness for a high price. They want unquestioned authority over vulnerable people, and we're primed to be taken advantage by them. We need to work diligently every day on decolonizing our minds from the idea that a soothing voice, a pretty aesthetic, and a viral video equals safe, healthy businesses. True healing requires strict boundaries, grounded reality, rigorous discernment on your part. If a practitioner can't answer basic questions about their training, if they hide behind a phantom storefront with no bio, if they refuse to structure a legal, accountable business, they don't deserve your energy. True healing comes from approaches that are rooted in traditions that they respect. I am perfectly happy to accept that this woman has a new approach if she tells me a little bit about how she came up with it and what she's doing. But instead, she's mashing together things that seem trendy, and she's using all the work weirdos, legitimate weirdos like you and me, who have never been popular online, have put in. She just borrows legitimacy when she uses terms without knowing what they mean. And she banks on you being a sucker that also doesn't know what they mean. So now I feel better because they can't get to you anymore. And you do know better. If you have any questions about Reiki or cord cutting or anything that we've talked about today, please leave it in the comments because I do read every one and I get back to as many as I can. Now, without further ado, let's ask the Oracle. But before we do, let's talk about what the Oracle is and what the Oracle isn't, and how we should be using this as a tool for shadow and growth.
Bring your chaos, hold an intention, and pull a card to the archetype without stopping to follow the associative friction wherever it leads.
Now it's time to ask the Oracle. Remember, we're not going to judge, we're not going to think about it, we're just going to answer.
Welcome to Ask the Oracle on the Strange Attractors podcast. Let us gaze deep into the cosmic unknown.
So, let's ask the Oracle. Remember, this part is all about what happens up here. So we are asking with... Okay, so this is a pretty simple card to react to. I think we all probably have an emotional reaction. Maybe some of us are already scribbling right now. But if you need a little inspiration, this card's prompt is, what masks are you wearing in your life and which feel authentic versus which feel like a burden? Well, I mean, I can think of like a 1,000 times when my mask made me seem like I was more susceptible to cons or to abuse than, I was. I can think of so many times when I was first going through, therapy for trauma that I tried really hard to break patterns in relationships, but the way I masked, the way I went around the world was sort of like all mixed up with a certain personality type. Definitely people pleasing is in it. If you're a people pleaser, you're going to be open, I think, a little bit more to this kind of abuse. And setting boundaries is going to be so much harder for you, but it's almost easier when people are obviously grifting you, right? It's like, I don't know about you, but I don't really have this healthy sense of like taking care of myself. But the minute I see that you're a bad person, and like, that's a subjective thing, but as soon as I see you're trying to get something over on me, like, it's almost like a sense of pleasure now. I'm like, oh, you're an asshole. Okay, we're doing this, my friend, because I've been playing dumb this whole time and you think I'm actually stupid. And I think that kind of goes along with my spite thrive idea, where it's like, I might not be able to place like boundaries to begin with right away, but the minute like you've identified yourself as an unsafe person or somebody who sort of, quote, deserves it, boom, it's on. It probably has a lot more to do with who I think, quote, deserves it and doesn't. Like, my internal boundaries are not a punishment for other people. That was a super toxic thing to say. See, we're doing it, you and me. We're doing it in real time. I'm going to think about this one. I'm going to continue to think about this one until I see you next time, okay? This is a good one. Us to get a mask, right? Think about the odds of that. The autistic girl getting a mask. So I think good stuff. I'll see you next time. Well, that's it for this first solo episode of Strange Attractors. Thank you for putting up with all of my inconsistencies and crazy makeup during the recovery process. I am so grateful to be here.